Hi guys, I hope you're having a great day today. Let's get some oracle cards and look into the energies of love and romance right now. See what's in the air, what's on the horizon for you. I'm going to start off with some romance angels and then we'll move on into another deck. Okay, so we've got stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. So some of you might have met somebody recently, or you're about to meet someone that it's going to be a very promising first meeting, something that you walk away from that experience thinking like, okay, there may be something here, there's some potential, we seem to get along really well with one another. Maybe this is somebody that you've been communicating with online and you're getting ready to meet in person for the first time, or somebody when you're just out and about in your regular reality. You know, you're at the store, you're at the coffee shop, you're adulting, you're doing your errands, and you encounter someone that might be just kind of like friendly conversation, chit chat, you know, talking about the weather, small talk, things like that. But there's a sense of like, okay, here's some chemistry, here's some spark, here's some potential. Maybe I'll see you around. Maybe I'll see you, same time next week. Or this is somebody that you've had those kind of regular or reoccurring kind of like, experiences with, sort of the familiar stranger in the crowd. This is like a mutually captivating energy. So on both sides of the equation, this kind of like introductory meeting, this first stage of like a spark or a potential, it's very well received by you, and it feels like by this person. So for those of you where it's been pretty dry, romantically speaking, there's been nobody of interest, nobody that you're able to connect with, nobody on the horizon, this is letting you know that you're going to be out of that drought pretty soon. You're getting ready to have an experience with someone or connect with someone where there's a possibility of like, okay, this could develop into something. This could signal like a turning point in your romantic life, and something that it feels like reflects the effort that you've been putting in order to have those glow ups, to kind of figure out patterns from the past and break free from those things. Anything that you've been trying to do to make better choices for yourself, romantically speaking, this is putting you into alignment with the beginning of the experience of circumstances that are going to leave you feeling, I didn't just waste my time, or I got sold on like an image of a person and the reality of them turned out to be different. There's a sense of kind of like first impressions being very transparent as far as what you can expect dealing with romantic partners moving forward, and it's something that represents a positive upswing for a lot of you. Yeah, we also have Flirt, extend your lighthearted energy to others. So it feels like you got a lot of eyes on you at this point in time. Even if you're just kind of in your comfies, you're in your sweats, you're out and about like doing errands, not trying to impress anyone, not really trying to be seen. It's given to mind the idea of somebody with like big sunglasses on and kind of like, just trying to move incognito, through just sort of the boring or mundane or, kind of adulting aspects of what day-to-day life requires. There's somebody that you are going to encounter at that time. You're like, I'm not all dolled up, I'm not all dressed up, I'm not looking my best, and yet it's your energy, it's your character, it's who you are as a person. It's even that vibe of like, I feel good even if I don't put a lot of effort into my appearance. I'm kind of just going out and trying to accomplish things. That in some sort of way, it feels like you're going to encounter someone when you're not looking for it. You're going to encounter someone where you least expect it. And it feels like that element of surprise really helps you to get kind of a clear perspective about what you're dealing with another person, and also them with you, because it feels like the guard is down in some sort of way. Where there's not like, okay, we're going out on a date. Let me try to impress this person. This is like casual interactions, first meetings. So if this has to do with the energy of like someone you've been communicating with online, for example, or somebody that, you just kind of, you've experienced them at arm's length, you don't really know them personally, that can indicate sort of like, oh wow, I encountered that person in real life and I didn't really mean to. We didn't really make those plans and preparations. Or, maybe it's somebody that you work with, or somebody that you know socially, and you have an experience, a run-in with them directly, one-on-one, face-to-face. that again, out of that circumstance where you're not like trying to impress, you're not trying to sort of, you know, show up looking cute or show up looking handsome. That's that energy of like real and raw, and in the moment that it feels like helps you and this person to be like, okay, I see a glimpse of this individual for who they are, not the mask they're trying to put on or present, not the way in which, you know, I'm trying to make that good first impression, but just very naturally, very authentically as yourself, and you know, this person even maybe being themselves, in that same kind of context, just out and about running errands, and then you encounter someone, you know, or you go out and you don't really have a high expectation of meeting anyone, or you don't have high expectation for, you know, like a conscious choice to kind of get together with someone, or whatever that looks like. It turns out a lot better than you think, or a lot better than you would imagine. We also have past life relationship. You have known each other before. Yeah, so this is the sense of like a familiar stranger, like a deja vu, something that kind of indicates almost like if you had tried to sort of put on a certain impression with someone, it wouldn't have had quite the impact as this very organic, kind of like old-fashioned sort of meeting, you know, in these times where everybody's just like, they're on an app, they're dealing with people virtually. This is something where it's like, no, face-to-face, you actually get to meet someone. That rare kind of old school thing where you're just out living your life, they're just out living their life. And here's this encounter that kind of like sets you apart from maybe the ways that you're used to meeting people, or that people around you are kind of doing in order to, you know, open up energies or connect with energies in their dating life or romantically speaking. This is something that even if you've tried that, even if you've explored those options, this is kind of taking things to that next level, and yet almost a sense of all back in time, kind of again meeting somebody the old-fashioned way, which is not always popular in this day and age, but it feels like for you, for anyone that's resonating with this, you're about to have some kind of experience like that, that may almost feel like a rare kind of treat, something that, oh, this doesn't happen every day, or I'm glad that, you know, I chose to go and do this on a particular day, because then it put me in the right place in the right time to meet someone. It also feels to me that this is the energy of like if you're taking yourself out on a date, you're like going out to lunch, you're going to a museum, you're going to a movie, you're kind of not waiting for someone to come around and give you that romance. You're providing that experience for yourself. You're becoming that love you want to experience with another person. In the course of doing that, maybe you've made more of an effort to do that already with yourself, or you're going to start to. This puts you in alignment with somebody where, you know, you're giving off that frequency of self-love. Like, I don't need to wait around for someone to treat me right. I can do that for myself. And you align with somebody who kind of picks up on that vibe, you know, maybe doing the same thing with themselves as well. They're treating themselves. They're not just going to sit in the house and kind of wait for that invitation, or, you know, wait to find that plus one. They're just going to go live their life and enjoy themselves anyway. And so it's almost like a kindred spirit, a like-minded sort of energy, where two people who are not looking for it are almost aligned by the hand of the divine. So some synchronicities, serendipities could align with how you encounter this person, or sort of the nature of that first meeting or that first conversation. So let's get a couple more just to see sort of what else you need to know about these energies right now. Okay, we have a new day dawns. Yeah, so for a lot of you, this is like new romance, a new spark, a new crush, a new secret admirer, something that kind of breaks up the monotony of whatever cycle you've been in romantically speaking, or even types of partners or partnerships, or something that's a little more outside of the box for how you're used to kind of meeting people. This is in the cards for you at this particular point in time, and it feels like it's going to give you a better perspective, either about your approach to dating or relationships in general, kind of like, okay, I never thought about looking at things in this way. You know, for some of you, it can result in like a connection that has a lot of potential, like a meeting that there's room for growth. For others of you, it may help you to kind of fine tune your strategy if you are going, you know, the route of sort of like, I'm going to meet someone on a dating app, I'm going to meet somebody virtually, that's within my comfort zone, or that helps me to kind of cast the widest net for what it is I'm wanting to experience. this in-person encounter with someone, it's very telling. It almost kind of brings forth your strengths and your vulnerabilities, and you're able to like see that in another person to get kind of a different idea of sort of where you should apply yourself moving forward in order to align with that type of love that you are seeking. And we also have embrace the dark. Yeah, so this is kind of like a dark horse energy, a wild card, somebody that you do not see coming. And they also, you know, are not anticipating meeting you. It's like two people that are kind of just in the midst of their lives, kind of, you know, thinking about the concerns of the day. And all of a sudden, there it is. There's that spark. There's that chemistry. There's that sense of like, wow, I thought something like this might have only happened in, you know, old movies. And here it is happening in this very moment in time, not for someone else, but for me, that familiar stranger in the crowd, where it's not just I've encountered an attractive person or somebody with a great personality, somebody that, you know, I'm feeling drawn towards, but there's almost the essence of a part of each of you, for you and this other individual, that kind of come into a place of alertness, something like deep within the soul that either speaks to you're very much aligned on like a vibration of whatever you've had to go through in romance and moving forward with your life, either like you're not looking to date and that's kind of the right internal climate for encountering someone, or you know, a sense where you've just really kind of surrendered and trusting the process of like the right person will come along at the right time. I'm not trying to force anything, and that creates that alignment. You know, it can be something like that, or it's also kind of this element of, for some, it's like a destined kind of past life soulmate. For some people, you know, you really are going to be telling the story of like, yeah, I met my forever person at the Starbucks when they confused our coffee orders, and, you know, one thing led to another. 50 years later, we're still together. For some of you, that's the narrative here, where it's just like, it's really unexpected. And yet it is the product of the road that you've had to walk to like reach this place in your journey. That person's had to walk, you know, their own particular path in order to get into the here and now. And so this is a door of love that you don't see at this time, that's kind of like opening for you, getting ready to align you with something that'll be a new and unique experience, and even kind of mirror to you aspects about yourself that, you know, if it turns out to be something kind of temporary or just kind of a one-off experience, it feels like this is a really good kind of meeting or encounter that helps you to sort of think, okay, that could have gone better. I could have said this, or maybe I didn't need to say that, or kind of however you handled things. It feels like it's almost just a map check for sort of like, what do you need to tighten up within yourself, or what do you need to kind of congratulate yourself as far as changes that come forth very impulsively, very just kind of, you know, instinctually when you're in this person's presence, or, you know, if you start talking, start communicating, there's, you know, kind of more after this sort of introductory thing and whatever that kind of develops into, that helps you to sort of say, okay, so I was a certain version of myself when I had, you know, certain experiences in love and romance, for better or worse, before. I've evolved, I've changed, I've grown, you know, I've come into this reality of me in the here and now. How effective is that? What type of people am I drawing in based on this vibration? What do I need to work on? What do I need to kind of subtract from my game or from my approach, or you know, just kind of like how I'm dealing with other people, that it feels like will give you a lot of leverage and help you to create substantial progress forth in terms of aligning with that right type of partnership. Or if that happens to be this person that you're getting ready to encounter, or maybe have recently encountered, it feels like something that you're almost drawing on like an internal reservoir of strength in some sort of way. You know, you're pulling out all the stops internally and energetically speaking, as far as like no longer holding back, no longer kind of dimming your shine, you know, whatever that kind of means to you, as far as being that radiant light that kind of draws in that which you are seeking. And we also have love that you are different. Yeah, so this is somebody that's very different from anybody that you've dated before. Way of meeting someone that is different than what you've experienced already up to this point in time in your dating life. Maybe you were comfortable just with having that kind of distance, dealing with people virtually, you know, to be able to kind of discern and think about things and not really feel pressured to act, as far as if that's where you've been kind of seeking out potential partners. But this person that's like up close and personal, or you have that experience in the physical with them, it's almost like you can't hide behind that computer screen. There's going to have to be those conversations. There's going to have to be more of those face-to-face meetings. And it's a sense of like, are you really ready for that? Are you really ready to kind of change your life, romantically speaking? Are you ready for that next chapter within your dating life and within that reality? And it feels like for a lot of you, the answer is going to be yes, you are ready for that. And so, you're aligning with somebody that it's not like, okay, we got to play the guessing game by what did you mean by that, typed out sentence, or why aren't you responding to my messages? Like there'll be some of that because you're still, individual people living your lives, but it feels like it's in a lot more close proximity to be able to have more of like traditional dates or get-togethers, and you're going to really be able to know kind of very quickly, it feels like, is this feel right for me? Is this something I want to pursue? That person as well is going to have those same kind of feelings or experiences, and then it feels like you go from almost maybe frustration or emptiness or like nothing exciting, nothing good in terms of, that dating pool or the romantic sector of your life. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, here's something that has a lot of potential. Here's something that, is kind of informing me as far as like what I'm going to do moving forward, either with this person or in general. And something that also kind of reassures you all your efforts haven't been in vain. And although, the love that you're seeking may be taking a different kind of time to approach, like it's all in divine timing, there's something where you're gonna be ready, or you're about ready to kind of experience like you're in the right place at the right time. You are that right person. The right time is now. And it feels like this experience helps you to kind of loosen up and relax into and just surrender to this process, because you're riding this wave of romantic prosperity. And this person that it feels like is coming through, is coming in, is kind of coming into your reality pretty soon. They're just the tip of the iceberg. There's more where that came from. You're radiating a very juicy and gorgeous energy right now, and so this kind of like face-to-face encounter, there may be others like that with other kinds of people, or something where you go from feeling that that's kind of an area of your life that is lacking, maybe romance, and all of a sudden your dance card's very full. All of a sudden you've got strategy in all kind of different ways, or different kinds of people that you can get into talking stages with or start to date. And so really kind of like the tables turning very fortunately for you as far as love and romance. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the bio. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.